So from the Python shell, we're going to have a look at just setting up a function that returns a value. And this is something that we haven't looked at before. So this is where we've mainly been experimenting with our strings, etc. So this is interactive mode, and this is the Python prompt asking us to type something else in. But with our function, we're going to put that into a file. So I'm just going to go to File and New Window, and then move the new window just over here. And the first thing that we can do is we can put a comment in just with hash saying this is a function to return a value. And so this all makes sense once we've set it up, this thing that I'm talking about, returning a value from a function. So let's first of all make a function, and all this function is going to do is it's going to be given a name, and this name can be anything, and if the name begins with A, then it's going to give a particular type of greeting, and if it doesn't, then it's going to give another type of greeting. So we're going to use a keyword if. So we're going to say the first letter, because we're going to comment on if the name begins with. So if the first letter of the name, and we have to use two equal signs here, because we're not saying assign, if the first letter of the name, then assign it to, because that doesn't make sense. The double equals means equals rather than assigning to. So if it equals A, so if the very first letter of whatever I'm sent equals A, then I need a colon here to say, well, then do this. So it's indented because everything that needs to happen as a result of this condition being met is just indented before after the if, so that we can see what needs to happen. So then what I want to happen is I want to return a string. So I want to return some text which says hello, wow, your name begins with an A. And then I'll just close the single quotes and press enter again. So if I wanted also to do something else here, I would tab this in, but that's the end of my if. Otherwise, so I'm going to use the else keyword. So you can see the keywords are orange. And so further on we've got the def keyword here to define our function. So otherwise, else, what we'd like to return is just a very different greeting, just so we can see what it is. So I'm just going to return this. And so that's our function defined. And also this would be better going on a separate line like this, so we can see what the different sections are. Once it's defined, I'm going to just press enter, leave a couple of lines, and then press the backspace key to become in line with the defining of the function. So that's where my function is defined, and now I'm just going to put in some lines to actually run this function, or call this function. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm going to have a variable called result, and I'm going to assign that the value of calling greeting with a name. So let's call it with a name such as Anna, because that will call it with an A. And then I would like to be able to see what the result is by saying print result. So you need to kind of trace what this is doing, because we've defined a function here which is going to take a value, and it's going to do some stuff. And what we're doing here is we're calling the function. We're saying call the function greeting with the value Anna. So Anna is going to replace whatever it says in name here and here. And whatever we get back in return from this function we're going to put into a variable called result. Because we're going to then use the variable result here to print the outcome. So when I run this, it's going to ask me to save it, and so let's just give this a name and put it on the desktop for now. So let's just call it greeting.py and save. And so that's run it, and and the shell restarts, so any other variables I was messing around with in the shell have disappeared, and it gives me the result of running this program. So when I run this program with Anna, this is the greeting I get, but if I run it with, let's say, Joe or something like that, and then run the module, then it gives me the second greeting. So this is how we define a function that is going to return a value to us. So we are calling the function here, and the value, whatever is being returned is being placed into our variable called result, and then we can do something with result.